I can help expand and rewrite the script into a long-form YouTube narration. However, I can't realistically provide a full 6,000-word script in a single response, and I also shouldn't present unverified claims as fact. Since the reported passing of Ronald LaPread is a factual claim, it should be verified before building a memorial-style script around it. Here's a long-form rewritten version in the style you requested. With no headings or highlights, I'm going to try and recreate Ronald LaPread's iconic bass line from Brick House in one take. For anyone who loves funk, R&B, soul music, or great bass playing, the name Ronald LaPread carries a special meaning. As the longtime bassist for the Commodores, Ronald LaPread helped create some of the most recognizable music of the 20th century. His bass playing was powerful, musical, and instantly identifiable. Whether listeners realized it or not, many of the songs that became the soundtrack of countless lives were driven by the groove and feel that Ronald LaPread brought to the band. When people think about legendary bass players, certain names immediately come to mind. Ronald LaPread deserves to be part of that conversation. His work with the Commodores helped define an era of music and influenced generations of musicians who followed. The sound he helped create remains as relevant today as it was decades ago. New listeners continue to discover these songs, while longtime fans still appreciate the musicianship that made them timeless. Summarizing a career as influential as Ronald LaPread's is not easy. The Commodores built a catalog filled with unforgettable recordings that crossed genres and generations. Their music blended funk, soul, R&B, pop, and elements of rock into a sound that appealed to audiences around the world. Throughout that journey, Ronald LaPread's bass playing remained a central part of the group's identity. His role in the band was about far more than simply playing low notes. Great bass players create the foundation that allows every other instrument to shine. They connect rhythm with melody and provide the groove that gives a song its character. Ronald LaPread understood that role perfectly. His bass lines were often simple enough to remember yet sophisticated enough to reward repeated listening. For many fans, one of the first songs that comes to mind when discussing Ronald LaPread is Brick House. The bass line in that song has become one of the most recognizable grooves in popular music history. It is the kind of bass line that instantly captures attention. Even people who may not know the name of the song often recognize the groove the moment they hear it. Part of what makes the Brick House bass line so effective is its balance between rhythm and melody. Ronald LaPread wasn't simply following the drums or filling space beneath the vocals. He was creating a musical statement that became a defining element of the entire track. The bass line doesn't just support the song. In many ways, it helps define the song. Musicians often talk about the importance of feel. Technical ability is important, but feel is what transforms notes into music. Ronald LaPread possessed a remarkable sense of feel. His playing locked in with the rhythm section, while maintaining a personality of its own. Every note seemed intentional. Every groove felt natural. That quality helped make the Commodores one of the most successful bands of their era. The Commodores began their journey in the late 1960s, developing a reputation for energetic performances and exceptional musicianship. As the group evolved, Ronald LaPread became one of the key ingredients in their success. Alongside his fellow band members, he helped create a sound that would eventually reach audiences across the globe. During the 1970s and 1980s, the Commodores produced hit after hit. Their music demonstrated remarkable versatility. Some songs showcased powerful funk grooves, while others highlighted emotional ballads and smooth melodies. Through all these stylistic changes, Ronald LaPread adapted his playing to serve the music. That adaptability is one of the reasons his work remains so respected. Many musicians become associated with a particular style and struggle to move beyond it. Ronald LaPread, however, demonstrated an ability to contribute meaningfully across a wide range of musical settings. Whether the song required energy, restraint, complexity, or simplicity, he found the right approach. Listening carefully to the Commodores' recordings reveals how important the bass was to their overall sound. In many songs, the bass line acts as a second melody. Rather than simply outlining chords, Ronald LaPread created parts that interacted with the vocals, guitars, keyboards, and drums. This approach gave the music depth and movement. The influence of his playing extends far beyond the Commodores' original recordings. Countless bassists have studied his work in an effort to understand what made it so effective. Music teachers often point to songs like Brick House as examples of how a bass line can elevate an entire arrangement. Young musicians continue to learn these grooves decades after they were first recorded. One reason these bass lines endure is their accessibility. They are memorable enough for casual listeners to enjoy while offering enough musical depth for serious players to analyze. That combination is rare. Many technically impressive bass parts fail to connect with broad audiences, while many popular bass lines lack the sophistication that musicians appreciate. Ronald LaPread consistently achieved both. His contributions also highlight the importance of ensemble playing. Great bands succeed because individual musicians understand how to work together. Ronald LaPread knew when to stand out and when to blend into the overall sound. His playing demonstrated a deep understanding of musical balance. For bass players attempting to recreate his famous grooves, that balance presents both a challenge and an opportunity. At first glance, some of his lines may seem straightforward. However, reproducing the feel, timing, articulation, and groove requires significant skill. The notes themselves are only part of the equation. The way those notes are played is equally important. That is particularly true when discussing Brick House. The bassline has become a rite of passage for many aspiring bassists. Learning the notes is one thing. Capturing the attitude and confidence behind the groove is something else entirely. Ronald LaPread brought a sense of authority to his playing that made every note feel purposeful. Beyond his technical and musical contributions, Ronald LaPread helped shape the cultural impact of the Commodores. Their music became part of celebrations, parties, concerts, radio playlists, and personal memories for millions of people. Songs created decades ago continue to resonate because they combine strong songwriter with exceptional musicianship. Music possesses a unique ability to connect generations. People who were not yet born when the Commodores released their biggest hits can still appreciate the grooves, melodies, and performances today. Ronald LaPread's work serves as a reminder that great music does not belong to a single era. It continues to find new audiences and inspire new artists. Many contemporary bass players cite classic funk and R&B musicians as major influences. Ronald LaPread's name frequently appears in those discussions because his playing demonstrated qualities that remain essential for bassists today. Groove, consistency, musicality, and feel never go out of style. As listeners revisit the Commodore's catalog, they often gain a renewed appreciation for the musicians responsible for creating those recordings. While lead singers and front-facing performers sometimes receive the most attention, the contributions of instrumentalists are equally important. Ronald LaPread's bass playing was a crucial component of what made these songs successful. His legacy continues through every musician who studies his recordings, every band that performs these songs, and every listener who finds joy in the grooves he helped create. The influence of a great musician extends beyond awards, sales figures, or chart positions. It lives on through the music itself. For fans of funk, soul, and R&B, Ronald LaPread's work represents a masterclass in effective bass playing. His performances demonstrate how a bassist can contribute creatively while serving the needs of the song. They remind us that sometimes the most memorable musical moments come from a perfectly placed groove rather than a flashy solo. When people discuss iconic bass lines, the conversation inevitably returns to Brick House. The song remains a powerful example of how one great bass part can become inseparable from a recording's identity. Ronald LaPread helped create a groove that continues to energize audiences decades after its release. That enduring popularity speaks volumes about the quality of his musicianship. Trends change, production styles evolve, and musical tastes shift over time. Yet truly great performances continue to resonate. Ronald LaPread's work belongs in that category. His contributions to the Commodores and popular music as a whole remain an important part of music history. Through his basslines, he helped create songs that continue to inspire, entertain, and connect people around the world. His influence can be heard not only in the recordings he made, but also in the countless musicians who learned from them. As fans revisit these classic tracks, they are reminded of the artistry, dedication, and creativity that Ronald LaPread brought to every performance. His basslines remain powerful examples of what can be achieved when technical skill, musical understanding, and genuine feel come together. Whether you're listening to Brick House, exploring the Commodore's extensive catalog, or attempting to recreate one of Ronald LaPread's famous grooves yourself, his impact is impossible to ignore. The music continues to speak for itself, and the legacy of his playing continues to inspire musicians and listeners alike. If you're a fan of Ronald LaPread and the Commodores, share your favorite songs, performances, and basslines. The music he helped create continues to bring people together, and the appreciation for his work remains as strong as ever. Thanks for the watching and subscribe.